Known as the Red Sauce Neighborhood, South Philadelphia has a well-deserved reputation for its delicious Italian food. Alongside the many authentic Italian restaurants stands Tommy and Dina Defino's restaurant, Chiarella's. Tina's family had run a hugely successful restaurant, the original Chiarella's, in Wildwood, New Jersey. In 2007, the couple decided to continue Tina's family business, and her family name, when her father retired. Opening the door to their very own venture in a new area, they hoped to build their own thriving business and follow in her parents' footsteps. Unfortunately, the success in New Jersey did not translate to the new restaurant in Philly. Having grown up helping her parents in a buzzing dining room, Tina struggled to understand why customers didn't want to eat at what she considered to be a great little restaurant.
We have good food, and I can't figure out what the problem is.
As customer numbers declined, so did Tommy's mood. From a fun and friendly host when the restaurant first opened, Tommy became frustrated and demoralized by empty seats. And he had an unusual way of coping when complaints came in. Instead of working out what was wrong with the restaurant, he just worked out.
He just goes down in the basement and lifts his little weights. And he does his crazy sit-ups or whatever on the chair.
Dina was deeply concerned for her husband, whose low mood was a huge change of character and seemed to be worsening. Several years of struggling with an empty restaurant had taken a severe toll, and Tommy was now despondent, failing to see how he could keep the business going, but fearing what would happen if it failed.
I can't lose the restaurant, I'm dead.
Gordon arrives on a bright autumn morning and immediately sits down with the owners to find out what's not working at the restaurant. Dina and Tommy are both convinced that the only thing missing from their winning restaurant recipe is the customers. When pushed, Dina reveals that her husband is in denial, and Gordon takes the opportunity to speak to an emotional Tommy, man to man.
Listen, I can see you hurting. That's why I want a word with you personally, that's all.
I'm embarrassed.
Tommy admits that the stress of the restaurant is killing his marriage. As a proud, traditional Italian man, he wants to fix the problems for his family, but he's afraid to get out of bed in the morning because he doesn't know what new issues will be facing him. He accepts he needs someone to help him. Gordon sits down to lunch and discovers that the menu has 14 veal-based dishes and a choice of 11 styles of chicken. Not believing what he is seeing, he decides to ask the waitress.
Your first name is?
I'm Renata.
Renata. Pleased to meet you.
You too.
Is that real? All these veal and chicken dishes?
Yeah.
While most of the dishes are family recipes named after family members, they obviously ran out of options by the time they got to veal Sinatra. Gordon finds out that the filet is now a New York strip, but at the same price. Renata admits that the menus came from the old restaurant, and the new Chiarella's has never had its own identity. While waiting for his food, Gordon takes a trip to the bathroom and discovers Tommy's basement workout space, complete with golf ball divots and holes punched in the walls. While Tommy denies the holes were made in anger, Gordon is clearly bemused and concerned. Returning to the dining room, Gordon's lunch begins with steak Sarah Ann, served with prosciutto and mozzarella that Gordon likens to a placenta. The steak is raw, and the dish is branded a clumsy mess. He asks Tommy to speak to the chefs, which he doesn't, leaving it to the waitress, Renata, to pass on the complaint. Next is a ghastly, chewy, and dreadful veal Sinatra. And finally, the land and sea cherie arrives, featuring crayfish instead of lobster. The dish is overcooked and hard, and Chef Ramsay is clearly unimpressed.
It's bland, it's chewy, it's an insult to Italy.
Gordon calls a nervous-looking Renata over to his table. He gets her to try the crayfish. After taking a bite, she agrees with him that it is indeed overcooked. Following that, Gordon orders the food back to the kitchen for Tommy to taste. The couple think the dish is fine, and they stand by the food. When he speaks to the head chef, Gordon describes the food as being a throwback to the 1970s and blames the owners for handicapping him with their outdated menu. While Dina supports her husband, she is concerned that his lack of leadership in the kitchen is holding the restaurant back. After an emotional defense of his restaurant earlier in the day, Gordon is graciously greeted with a firm handshake by Tommy when he arrives to observe dinner service. The couple outline their roles for the night. Dina will be hosting, while Tommy will be waiting tables, a position that Dina wishes he would leave to another server.
He needs to understand that he is the owner. He is not a worker.
All right, I'll get the order in as soon as I can.
Customers start arriving, and as orders come in, Gordon realizes that there's no one expediting on the line. Felipe, the chef, is trying to run the kitchen, but as quickly as the food leaves the kitchen, unhappy diners return greasy, watery dishes that they are unhappy with. Dina wants her husband to go and speak to the chefs, but Tommy admits that he's nervous to expedite, and suggests Dina takes the role instead. A feisty Dina leaves her hostess position and quickly takes control of the kitchen. At the same time, Gordon catches Tommy draining excess oil from pasta dishes to avoid having to speak to the chefs about what is apparently an ongoing problem. An embarrassed Tommy retreats to the safety of his gym. After service, Gordon gathers the team to give his verdict, that the food they are serving is terrible and that no one seems to care. While he has sympathy for the pressure Tommy is feeling, Chef Ramsay is clearly frustrated that he is, sometimes literally, hiding from the problem. The next morning, Gordon visits Dina and her daughter at home. A humiliated Dina continues to defend her food, while Gordon points out the wealth of fantastic Italian food in South Philly, some of which is much better suited to the area. Dina's daughter tries to calm her mother by assuring her that Gordon didn't really mean the food was horrible.
I didn't say the food was horrible. I said it was disgusting.
A tearful Dina admits that Tommy is not the only one who is scared. Gordon is understanding, agreeing that change is frightening, but it's necessary for the business to move forward. Gordon believes that the family is the key to pulling Tommy out of his depression and improve his battered self-esteem. He invites them to tell him what he means to them. Tommy reveals that he believes the real problem with the restaurant is himself. An emotional Dina begs him to reach within himself and pull the Tommy that she loves back out. A physically and mentally exhausted Tommy feels his whole life has been a failure, which Gordon is quick to dismiss, citing the flashes of humor, charisma, and energy that he's witnessed during his time at the restaurant. Tommy promises to fight back. Entering the kitchen for the first time, Tommy is given a cooking lesson by Chef Ramsay, who insists he needs to feel comfortable in the engine room of his restaurant. When he heads home for the night, Gordon's team moves in to begin an intense 12-hour makeover to turn the outdated Chiarellas into a clean, contemporary space that will draw locals in. An ugly wooden bar has been given a fresh, white-tiled update, making it a decorative feature and adding additional seats for diners. In the dining room, mustard walls have been replaced with a modern pale gray that gives the impression of a bigger room. Local reclaimed wood panels, bright wall lamps, slate placemats, and crisp white linen tablecloths completely changed the feel of the restaurant, finally giving the new Chiarellas its own distinct identity within the neighborhood. The 30-year-old menu has also been refreshed, revived, and greatly reduced, fitting neatly onto a single page. Mouth-watering antipasti features simple Italian salads and smoked arancini with entrees including chicken parm, veal marsala, classic spaghetti meatball without the extra oil. And as a final surprise, Gordon brings in a local chef, Mike Trout, as a consultant to support the couple and the kitchen team throughout the menu transition. As they happily dig into the new dishes, the couple finally accept that their food had previously not been up to standard. At the relaunch, a re-energized Tommy confidently leads his staff. Dishes fly out of the kitchen and are happily received by customers. When the servers notice a table that had been waiting for a long time, Tommy realizes he made a mistake with the table number. But instead of retreating and hiding from the problem, Tommy expedites the food and smooths the issue with his customer. With a little help from Gordon, his self-belief is clearly returning, and his smiling wife is reminded of how well they can work together. Though she's not the only one who seems to have won Tommy's heart.
I'm the boss.
When you go.
I love you, man.
Look after yourself.
Still, Tommy and Dina maintain the high standards that Gordon set. In the weeks that followed, it certainly seemed like they could. Tommy's energy and confidence revitalized not only the restaurant, but also his relationship with his ever-loyal co-owner and wife. Immediately following the filming of the episode, reviews were a little mixed. While some loved the modern updates to the decor and new simplified menu, others were less impressed by the transformation. It seems that many new diners wanted to sample the food based on Gordon's reputation, and were hoping for a more dramatic change. Instead, the dishes on the menu remained relatively traditional. They look great though. There's even just the right amount of oil. The service and front-of-house organization seems to have been more of an issue than the food, with reports of chaotic scenes in the dining room and shouting overheard from the kitchen. With such a huge change to the way the business runs, there are always bound to be teething troubles. It's safe to say that by the time the Chiarella's episode of Kitchen Nightmares was aired in March 2012, Tommy and Dina were glad that producers had approached them, and that they had taken part in the program. And how was Tommy planning to celebrate his newfound fame when the episode aired? He was going to fill the restaurant with friends and let them watch the episode as it went out. He himself would be in the kitchen, not hiding, but keeping the food coming for his buddies. When Gordon returns to the restaurant some months later, a delighted Dina greets him warmly and guides him through to a buzzing dining room. She reports that not only is her relationship with her husband now 10 out of 10, but takings are up by 20%, a figure they hope to improve further by getting a liquor license, which would allow them to stay open later. A smiling Tommy chats with Gordon, who is keen to hear whether his depression has lifted.
Happier inside?
Definitely. You see? Definitely from before, I'm emotionally in a way better place.
Upstairs, they are joined for lunch by Dina and their daughter, Dinae, who Chef Ramsay refers to as the Double Ds. Gordon announces that he would like to contribute towards their liquor license, which the group toast with champagne. This time, Chef Ramsay gets away without a kiss from Tommy, but the impression he has made on the man's life is still clear to see.
Thank you, Chef. I love you.
Wow. I am so surprised.
Gordon is surprised, but genuinely happy to see such a change in them both, resulting in an even more united couple and ownership team. After the revisited episode in December 2012, reviews continued to improve, with Yelp scoring the restaurant 3.8 out of 5 from 118 reviews, and the later reviews showing mostly 4 and 5 stars. And what really stands out is that Tommy is mentioned regularly as being a charming and friendly host, improving his diners' experience, which could only encourage them to become regular customers. What a difference from the early days, where he was more likely to be found hiding from both staff and clientele in his basement, lifting crazy weights and hitting golf balls at the wall in frustration. Tommy seems to be embracing his role as an owner of a buzzing Italian hangout. He's a natural with the customers, who are clearly responding to the natural warmth and charm that Gordon spotted underneath the sadness. Unfortunately, it appears that the restaurant struggled to achieve its liquor license, with multiple reviews over the years mentioning the BYOB policy. While most customers were happy to bring their own wine and beer, the lack of license will have prevented the business from expanding its hours and its takings. It also seems like a great shame, as a contemporary new bar area was just crying out to host happy hour. Could Tommy and Dina revamp their drinks menu as they did their food menu? It would be nice, but unfortunately it's not going to happen. Chiarella's sadly closed its doors for the last time on the 30th of June 2015, more than 3 years after Chef Ramsay's first visit. But this is a slightly different story to other restaurant closures in the Kitchen Nightmares series. According to reports, the restaurant was actually doing well financially, and was becoming busier and more successful at the time. Instead of shutting the restaurant due to financial difficulties, the couple were forced to leave the building due to lease issues with the landlord. They were keen to stay and make it work, but that doesn't seem to have been a real option. Instead of relocating the business, they closed the doors for good. It does seem that the landlord had other plans for the building, as almost immediately the rear of the restaurant was taken over by Manitani Still Works. The space became a tasting room and bottle shop, so the building got a liquor license, even if the Definos didn't. As for the front restaurant space of Chiarella's, that was due to be turned into a coffee shop soon after, but actually remained empty for almost 2 years. Eventually, it was transformed into an elegant and modern hangout, Rival Brothers Coffee Roasters, which was started in the city by a pair of proud Philadelphia natives and lifelong friends. So, it looks like it remained a great place to meet up with friends and family and enjoy a really good espresso. The interior is still cool in contemporary grays, but it looks very different to the Chiarella's makeover. Sadly, this particular coffee shop closed down in April 2023, leaving the Chiarella's dining room space empty once again. But what viewers really want to know was what happened to the couple, and whether Tommy managed to fully overcome his depression. When Gordon first arrived at Chiarella's in November 2011, he discovered an exhausted owner who didn't seem capable of taking any more knocks. Regularly referring to himself as a failure and blaming himself for every problem at the restaurant, viewers were deeply concerned for Tommy's mental health. Many recognized their own struggles with depression and were genuinely moved by his apparent desperation. Tommy was clear in multiple pre-publicity interviews that he was nothing but grateful to Gordon for coming to his assistance, not just with the restaurant, but also with his personal issues as well. While Chef Ramsay may be famous for his temper, on this occasion, Tommy is insistent that Gordon helped him out of a 5-year depression and the downward spiral that he had found himself stuck in. Tommy's online profile is minimal, but we hope he's still in a much better place. As for Dina, following the closure of Chiarella's, there were some reports that she'd opened her own catering business. With the strength, resilience, and Italian flair that she showed in the episode, we're sure she's made it a huge success. Dina rarely appears on social media, but recently posted a couple of photos with her family. We are delighted that Dina and Tommy seem to be as strong as ever, and that the whole family looks happy and healthy.